Yes, I know. I've heard the story. I know everything having to do with the fact that here are the most two powerful people in the world and they're going at it. And oh my God, what's going on? Well, let's analyze. Let's analyze what's going on. Let's not just report. Let's analyze as to what these two people actually are doing. So, as you know, Elon Musk was put in charge of Doge, and Doge was supposed to save lots of money to lots of people, right? That was the idea. And frankly, the guy had a lot going for him because at the end of the day, Elon Musk did a fantastic job when it came to rationalization, cost saving with Tesla. So he knows what he was talking about. And when they put him in charge of Doge, things looked great at first. But then what really happened, right? What really happened for it to go south the way it did? Are you really surprised? Do you really think that it's so surprising that this is actually happening? Not so sure. I am not so sure that it's surprising. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to understand the psychology. Don't look at the money and the power of these two people. Now, obviously, that's a huge implication, right? This has a huge implication in the stock market and obviously Tesla, which has lost 14%. But more importantly, the implication having to do with you, having to do with the stock market, having to do with the new tax bill, the so-called big, fantastic, what are they calling it? They're calling it big, the big bill, the bill that's supposed to take care of everything and have huge medical bill. Actually, the name of it is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So it is an act, meaning this is the actual name of the thing. I know that Trump went around and said, "Oh, the big beautiful bill." No, it's actually called the OBBBA, One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So it is an act. Okay, so now, at the end of the day, what this thing is supposed to accomplish is one thing, and what they ended up happening is another thing. But more importantly, you need to understand the psychology of these two people. Don't look how much money one has and one is a president, one is a rich guy. No, you need to understand the psychology. And this is going to have huge implication, and it already has in the stock market, but like I said before, having huge implication with the tax, this OBBA. And obviously, this is a big concern because you know what? When they passed this thing to Congress, they only got it by one vote, right? How you doing? And they cannot, hey, lucky luck, and they cannot afford anything's happening to this bill right now because it's going to have huge implication, right? I mean, don't forget, Elon Musk, he's got 14 kids, but he has lots of money. But more importantly, he has his tentacles everywhere. Now, what happened? Well, first of all, there's a tale of two cities. This is a tale of two cities. What do we mean by that? Well, on one hand, you have the bill, and the other one you have Doge, right? Now, understand what Doge was about to begin with, and it made total sense because Elon Musk was the guy to fix something like that. But what happened? Well, nothing happened really. He went around, cut a few things. At the end of the day, if you look carefully, what actual accomplishment were achieved with Doge, there was nothing. I mean, they could not complete, finish it, tighten with a bow on it. Why? Well, because you know what? They were asking for so. Yeah, of course, French is allowed, and of course, oui, bien sûr, on parle français ici aussi. A lot of things could have been done with those that could not happen, right? But listen, we're talking about a lot of situation with those trying to poke around and make some changes that frankly disturbed a lot of people. But Elon Musk, at the end of the day, he's a very simple guy, if you think about it, right? He just wanted to save money. He wanted to do the same thing that he did for Tesla. He wanted to do it for Doge. So, yeah, let's save some money. Now, remember, this is going to become important when I'm talking about the pork that they are putting in this bill. But let's think about the pork a little bit later. So, it's the story of Trump, it's the story of Elon Musk, and it's about the pork. And I explain to you what the pork is after. But the point is, right now, Doge didn't do anything because he couldn't get anything done because it was too much. These people have this thing set up in Washington that they're not willing to give it up. There's a lot of interest. And they kept pushing back, and he wanted to do it, and they said no, and he tried to save money here, cut there, fire a bunch of people, which is basically what he did when he was at Tesla, and he was also when he was in charge of what is now called X, but Twitter. Right? He went in and he said, listen, you're not in on Monday morning, you're fired. His world is extremely simple in his mind. Now, at the other end, and this is where the psychology comes in, the mind of Trump is very complex. You need to understand. Let's go back, right? When he was in charge of the casinos, which are all gone now, so be careful. He's a businessman, right? He created the casinos, he built the casinos, but frankly, at the end of the day, he really didn't pay the bondholders, whatever you hear, and he actually didn't pay a few people that actually built the casinos. He owed money to a lot of these developers. He never paid them. Okay, so these are two different characters. Forget the money, forget what they're doing. Two different characters. Now, how did these two characters got to talk? How did these two people what did these two people get together? How did these two people get together? We're talking Elon and we're talking Trump. Well, they got together because one wanted to be elected and the other one wanted to be famous or wanted to do something. He really wanted to do something for the country. And when they got together, it was fine at the beginning, but then what Elon was trying to do, which is save a bunch of money on the government, but by definition, the government is not the most efficient thing there is. And yet this guy is trying to save money to the government, and Trump was helping him. He's my friend, like that. They were like that. But then eventually, those kind of went on the wayside because it was too much. So as we start losing Doge, Trump basically said, "Listen, you know what? This is not going to work because at the end of the day, I want to do the things that I promised." And this is where the bill comes in. This bill is supposed to be one of his campaign. It's supposed to be for the campaign what he wanted to do, right? So, but at the end of the day, he's got to be careful, right? Because it's him and Elon, and there's a bunch of 214 Republicans in Congress that needs to go along. That's a lot of people. A lot of people have to dance together for a long period of time. And what's happening is the Doge dance wasn't really helping much. We're saving some money, but we need to pass this bill. Now, the thing is, what do these congressmen want out of this bill? Yes, I know they want to pass the bill, right? And basically, what is a bill doing? Let's talk about this bill a little bit. Basically, what they're doing, they're extending the 2017 tax cut. Now, you have to do it, because if you don't do it, then the tax is going to go up. Now, by how much really is this going to go up? Right? We're talking, on average per person, maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a year. Okay, yeah, it could be a lot of money for people, right? But it's not earth-shattering, destructive things, right? So basically, they want to extend the 2000 tax cut. Fine, extend it. But then they also want to raise the state and local deduction cap from 10,000 to 40,000. Thank you very much. That's good. That is good thing to have, in the U.S. for your taxes, right? But then, no tax on tips. Now, these are all the things that Trump said he was going to do, and he's doing them, okay? But then, you got to pay for the thing, right? That costs money. So they're going to do some Medicaid cuts. Okay, that's going to hurt, but that's okay. Healthcare restriction, and then they're going to obviously doing a lot of defense and border funding. Ah, hold on, what is that? Well, we need to spend money in defense, the border, defending, the country, defending. Okay, so, and I think this is where the whole thing went south. Because Elon Musk is not a stupid man, right? He wanted to know exactly what he wants to know exactly what's in it. Okay, what world do you live on? I live in this world, Apache, the best world there is, right? And I want to tell you that that bill that they put together contains a lot of pork. What is pork? Well, let me give you an example of pork, right? Pork, when we passed the COVID 2020 CARE Act, and this is not just in the US, this is all throughout all the other countries, right? Basically, they spend the COVID CARE Act, and in there, little pork called a $25 million for the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Why do we need to spend $25 million on this in the middle of COVID? That is what you call pork. Basically, you go to constituents and you go and say, well, I'm going to put people together to vote for your bill, but this is what I want on the side for my people, right? And basically, pork is money. It's a specific project, not servicing the public at large, but servicing your people in your community so that you get reelected. For example, the best one was in 2005 when there was a highway bill. There was a $223 million for the bridge to nowhere. Check it out. That's what's called pork. So imagine, and this is where the psychology comes back, imagine the mind of Elon Musk. The guy that basically is a machine, is a robot. In fact, he sleeps. At one point with Tesla, he was sleeping on the factory floor. He wanted to replace all these people by robots. So you could think his mind the way it's thinking. It's a great mind, but when he says, "Come on, what's going on here? What's really going on here?" What we don't really, and the thing is, right now you don't get to see what the pork is. All you know is 150. All you know to hear is 150 billion dollars for defense, 46 billion dollars for the border, and 25 billion dollars for missiles. But exactly what? What do you mean the border? What do you mean 46 billion dollars for the border? To do what? To build a wall? No. This is where the pork comes in. It's all over the place. It could be $1 million for this guy to get the contract for him, another 20 million for this guy to build a road, having to do, it's pork. It's basically stuff that no one is going to be benefiting except the people themselves that are getting the money or the contractors. And Elon Musk should throw this. He says, and what do we get for this pork? Well, you get your taxes. That's great. And what else do we get? $3.8 trillion of additional national debt, when we know that there's already 37 trillion, right? So you're going to keep adding to that $37 trillion. And for the psychology of a guy like Elon Musk, that doesn't make any sense. That's why he calls it an abomination, right? Because we're going to save some people some money and then we're going to lower their taxes. Is this really what we're doing here? No, what we're doing is, for the people, we're going to raise the national debt, which they're going to have to pay. We're throwing some freebies, such as extension, no tax on tips and overtime. But meanwhile, the pork goes in, and that's why he cannot stand that. Now, at the end of the day, Trump, psychologically speaking, he say, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I'm promising you that, so I'm going to do that for you," and that's why it's good for Trump, because he promised the talent that he has, and it worked very well even with a smart guy like Elon Musk. He was able to convince him that no, we're together here. We're going to work. We're going to do all these great things. Don't forget, he made a tremendous amount of money on TV by selling you the idea of a guy firing a bunch of people, The Apprentice. It's brilliant. It was brilliant. He also, got elected twice. So the man has certain kind of qualities. Don't think he's an idiot. He's definitely not an idiot. He's a manipulator, whatever you call it, but he's not an idiot. It's just that he was smart enough to kind of fool Elon Musk into believing that somehow all these things will get done. Now, of course, Elon Musk, I don't know if you know, but he gave him a lot of money for his, I believe, if my numbers are correct, he gave him about 270 million to be elected. I mean, that's a lot of money that he gave to be for the election. So somehow he got elected, and he also got elected with Elon Musk. And he had him there parading all over. And Elon Musk kept doing it, even though share price went up. But then they realized, whoa, Doge, no good. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. I mean, he took a huge dive on the stock price. And what did he get for it? He didn't get Doge down. The value of Tesla went down. People started hating him. And then on top of that, the cherry on top is pluck, is the bill, the big bad bill that really is all about giving a bunch of people lots of money that don't really deserving according to Elon Musk. So that is the and you could see it is more of a psychology, right? Because first they went to the office, and Trump, obviously, because it's all about the presentation, he brings him in the office. Everything is great. We're going to do fine. Thank you very much. He had to go because 136 years. No, the drug messes up his brain. Well, yeah, but that's true. But you could imagine that his brain works pretty well to begin with. Don't make excuses for him either. He knew what he was getting into, right? I'm talking about Elon Musk because somebody said that the drug messed up his brain. Well, it messed up his brain to a certain extent, but he got fooled by Trump, if you could call it that, fool. Except Trump is very logical, and you could see him talking. He was talking to the German prime minister, and he basically said, "Listen, I like the guy. I don't know what he's talking about. You know what? I know what's going on. What's really happening is he was with us. He was having a good time. He had lots of attention, and then he had to go because his days were up. No more than 135 days. Well, he was up because, frankly, he needed to go because he was making too much noise, and he got upset about that. That's why he got upset. So I'm okay with him. So very, very smooth talking, very smooth talking. Now, of course, someone as smart, and we're talking smart here. We're talking quant smart. Hey, how you doing, MBM? We're talking smart. He was very smart, and he said, you know what, I could see through you, right? And he went back at him, and then Trump went in, and then before eventually, it's psychology, because ultimately what Elon Musk is kind of hinting, which has nothing to do with the pork, nothing to do with Tesla, nothing to do with the election, nothing to do with Doge. He says, you know what? I believe that Trump might be on the list of those people that were involved in Epstein's business with those underage girls. Whoa. Whoa, where does that come from? So that is, I agree with Al Sawia. It's smart, but weird and unstable. Why are you bringing this in the conversation now? So now you're all over the place. Now you don't make any sense. Now you're scaring the kids, right? You're scaring the kids because now you're bringing this thing in. Now Trump, now you have to understand that Trump is not just talking to him. He's also now trying to get this bill passed in the Senate, right? He's got those senators are like, well, wait a minute. Now, come on. I've been on the Hill for many years. I know what's going on here. There's a pork all over this thing. And then, of course, you are increasing the national debt by another $4 trillion. Now, of course, you will hear that, no, but wait. Yeah, but they're not counting. They're not counting the tariffs. They're not counting the tariffs. And yes, if you look around, the tariffs, technically, if they work, you could have an additional $2.7 trillion by 2034 with the next 10 years. So that could kind of balance off, the $3.8 trillion that's going to cost. But frankly, what are you saying here? In 2034, I mean, not next year, Trump will be gone by then. All these people will be gone. And then, if for some reason, which already we've got issues, looks like a very nice, yes, in south of France right now. I'll be back in New York. I got to take care of business. But it will be very difficult for them to manage $3.4 trillion with the $2.7 trillion because you don't know if you're going to get the $2.7 trillion. You're going to get the $3.4 trillion of an additional debt. And I don't like the bill, but I don't like what Elon acts like a 7-year-old. You know, he's a 7-year-old child. He's complaining. The problem is you have to be very careful, right? Because now you've got the senators that say, okay, we need to vote for this bill. Oh, you mean that, and obviously Trump is, and psychologically speaking, is putting pressure on them. Hey, I got mandate with half of the country. If you want to be reelected, don't piss me off. Otherwise, I'll sell you to the wolves and you'll never be elected yourself, right? Because you want to come back to that job, right? But now, Elon Musk is coming in and says, wait a second, I'm with these guys. That doesn't make any sense. Now, of course, you could say Elon Musk is stupid, it's crazy. Don't listen to him. But should you really? Because don't forget, that $37 trillion, I don't care where you live in the world, that bill, that amount of money, at some point, it's going to be too much money for the U.S. to carry. I thought we talked about this, and now we're adding even more. I'm adding even more debt to the national debt. So at some point, if the U.S. can't pay for it, what's going to happen? Two choices. A, it either decides to actually print money to pay for it, or it goes out and finds somebody to refinance the debt, right? That's simple enough. What Trump did to the stock exchange or global markets was no insider deal. The bill is a bad, but it's part of this campaign. Yeah, and so he's doing what I agree. He said he was going to do. And that's why I don't know what Elon Musk is so pissed about. He shouldn't be surprised. He got taken it, he got sold it, and he said he's going to do it. The thing is, within that bill, right, is pork. Is in that bill is about $150 billion for defense, $46 billion for the border, and $25 billion. That money that's in there just doesn't smell right. It's not right. You're just paying off a bunch of people, basically. So to go back to my point is that if you don't raise the money to refinance that debt, you're in trouble. But why? We've been doing it for quite some time. You know, debt goes up, people come in and they love U.S. debt, and especially now at 4.5%. What is it not to like? I'll tell you what's not to like. Because right now, China is not buying it, not buying the debt. In fact, right now, the amount of debt, which is about $800 billion, for the first time is lower than the UK has more debt to the US, has bought more treasury to the US than China. It's only China. Yeah, I know, but some people are bailing out. And don't forget, this year, there's $9 trillion to be refinanced. If for some reason the US is in trouble, if for some reason people start to believe that the US is not able to repay that bill, we're in big doo-doo. We're in big trouble. Why? Because there's about, I think $3 to $4 to $5 trillion that is owed to people that needs to be paid back. If you don't pay your bills, then there's a clash of civilization. Then there is a lack of liquidity in the market. And the market, my friends, I don't care where you are, stock market or not, the thing that you have to worry about is not supposed to be, recession and things like that. You need to worry about the lack of liquidity. Right now, like it or not, the U.S. is on top. If the U.S. loses that position, and Trump is doing the best he can to do it because he's shaking lots of things all over the place, and now with Elon Musk, I mean, first it was the tariffs. Well, first it started with the border. Oh, okay, fine. A few people over the border, right? Then he went to Europe. I'm not doing this. I'm not protecting you. Okay, so that was kind of shaky. Then the tariffs. And now with Elon Musk, this is what's happening. Are you shaking this thing? Are you sure you want to shake that thing that much, right? Because right now, the price on the treasury is dropping because people are selling it. They don't want it. That means the yield is going up. Do you really want the yield to go up when you owe $37 trillion? Because in the past, you were refinancing at 2%. Now it's going to cost you 4.5%, double. And right now, the U.S., if you were to do a chart, right? How much money do you spend? War stole money is stole out of nothing. Yeah, well, that's literally what it is, right? Because now the U.S. is basically, this is from MBM, because right now what's going on is the U.S. is the only, well, with few countries that could print money and people still take it. The euro, maybe the Japanese yen, a couple of currencies, the U.S. obviously, because we are a reserve currency. We're a reserve currency because they trust the paper that it's printed on. And the US is going to have to print more paper to repay that 9 trillion that are coming up. I mean, everything that I'm telling you right now, Elon Musk knows already, right? And he's already thought well ahead of this, okay? And he says, what are we doing here? Because at the end of the day, why is he doing all this for? To make more money? Really? He just gave $250 million to Elon Musk, to Trump. He doesn't need the money. So why is he doing it for? Again, psychology. I think he's doing it because he really wants to help the people. He wants people, send people to Mars. He wants to create a car that doesn't that doesn't pollute the earth. He's a good guy. Crazy guy, but he's a good guy. He wants to help out. And I realize, my God, there's nothing to get done. And you people are using me, and you use me, and now you're making it worse for the people that I'm trying to help. I don't like it. And I'm going to hit back. Be careful. This guy has lots of power. You may or may not realize it, right? So it is a psychologically speaking, it is very difficult for him to take this kind of stuff. And for you listening, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like the channel. You have to realize that this could impact the entire world. How? Well, I will tell you what. If Elon Musk keeps barking around and making troubles, and those senators, these people are kind of independent, some of them, there's a few of them already saying no. They feel emboldened by what Elon Musk is doing. And they feel that somehow if somehow you feel that there's a situation going on with Trump and he's losing his hold, then they'll be emboldened. No, don't forget, you haven't heard anything about the Democrats, right? Democrats is very quiet. He does. I never underestimated him. That is a good idea, Yazan. Never do that. Never underestimate someone like that, right? So that's going to be a very difficult problem to manage because he is someone that is that could dislodge everything, because now if they can't vote this package, right, he doesn't get the required votes, that means that Trump cannot deliver. What did he actually deliver? Okay, yes, he threw a bunch of people running around in the streets, sent them on a plane, sent them back. There's 11 million illegal in this country, in the US. I don't think they're all gone, okay? So, 2, Doge, not such a great success. Where's the money? Where's the $4,000 people were supposed to get from the Doge? There's nothing happening here, right? The tariffs. What did you actually sign and do and deliver? Yeah, I know that Trump had a discussion with Xi, but what does that mean? Sending people to Mars is not really helpful. But yeah, but he wants to help the people. That's his mind. That's what he wants to do. He wants to help you. Well, what's wrong with that? Trump decided to talk to Xi, and he says, how did it go? He was talking today with the German minister, and he says, how did it go today? Well, we had a good conversation. Now, in Trump talk, doesn't mean anything. In fact, the Chinese themselves say, whoa, hold on. It wasn't a love fest, okay? It's not like they were hugging and they say, you know what, let bygone be bygone, No, because at the end of the day, if you understand what the U.S. is trying to do, is we're trying to collect some money and trying to bring everything back to the U.S., right? So you're basically telling these people, hey, if you're making pharmaceutical over there, I'm not going to keep paying you to do it. I want to bring it here. I want to bring everything. I want to make it myself, so I don't need you anymore. So it's kind of a contentious relationship. But if you can't pass this bill, then he's going to say, well, what have you done? What do you think the Democrats are doing right now? They're taking notes, like I'm taking notes myself, and saying, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. So what did you do? We talked about it. You crashed the stock market, right? You did a bunch of You went around, but what happened? Now, at the end of the day, Trump is doing all this for valid reasons, right? I mean, it's not wrong to want to reduce your trade deficit. Yeah, you don't want to have a huge trade deficit for too long. You want to make stuff in the country. Yes, fine. But now it's becoming a big mess. Why is it becoming a big mess? Because you want to do it quickly, because you don't have the time, right? Keep in mind the business should not engage in politics. Is hurting his investors bad. Yes, he's totally right. Yassam Housaweed is totally right. Yesterday alone, Tesla lost about 14%. And now, of course, in about 20 minutes, we're waiting for a number that's going to tell us exactly what's going on in the economy. And I'm telling you, people, if that number does not look good, basically we're talking about non-farm payroll, we are talking about unemployment rate. If that thing shoots up, we're in big trouble. So if you want to make some money right now they're thinking it was prior, the non-farm payroll was 177 prior, they're expecting 130,000. Okay? If it goes below that, I don't know what's going to happen. And if the unemployment rate is supposed to be 4.2%, if it starts going up, we're in trouble. Now, the reason we might be in trouble is because a few days ago, the payroll numbers came out and basically shows the ADP numbers. It basically shows you the amount of increases of new jobs created, and it was about 37,000. Way, way, way below April for 110. So on top of all this, the tariffs, the fight, the pork, the tax, right? Now the economy is starting to slow down. But what do you expect? What do you expect? I'm a businessman. I have a portfolio. I got businesses. But what do you think I'm doing when I'm seeing all this? I'm saying, well, I'm not doing anything. Do you know who else is doing that? The chair of the Federal Reserve. And that's why Trump is saying, come on, Powell, too late, Powell. Meaning that everybody is lowering rates. How come you're not doing it? Recently in Europe, they just lowered rates even more. The Lagarde lowered the rates in Europe to even lower than the US. He's saying, do that, lower the rates so people start investing in the country. But now Powell is saying, hold on, I am not lowering it because I don't know the impact of the tariffs. But in the tariffs, there's nothing going on with the tariffs right now, right? I mean, nothing has been signed in blood. Not everything is concrete, right? Because if it was, then we wouldn't be talking about it. We would have said, hey, listen, you know what? The tariffs are on the way. Don't worry about it because you know what? They're going to save $2.7 trillion. And for some reason, it's not happening. So the situation right now is, I mean, you had a shaky situation to begin with. Trump didn't create it, but he's shaking it at this foundation with all these things that are not really complete, they're not finished, and you're picking fights. And you could see when he was talking today with, he was talking to the German guy, the German chancellor, you could see he was kind of making it up as to why do you think Elon Musk doesn't want to be with you? I think he doesn't want to be with me because he wanted to be part of the government, and he's not part of the government, so he's upset. Really, you truly believe that? Okay. Elon Musk was making too much noise, bothering too many people, and now with the pork, he makes even more trouble. Go right now in ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT or DeepSeek, where's the pork in this bill, this OBBA? You're gonna say, well, we don't disclose the pork. It will be disclosed later on, like the $223 million for the bridge to nowhere from 2005, the highway bill. That was pork that was put in there. It only benefits the developer, the constructor that built the road or whatever, spend the money, right? Because basically they're spending the people's money. It's a fantastic business. Giving away billions of dollars, You know, what are you going to spend $46 billion on the border for exactly? You're going to finish the wall? You're going to build it? Or you're going to pay a bunch of people? Let's see the list. And I bet you that Elon Musk saw that list. I bet you that he saw it and he says, this is ridiculous. What are we paying these people for? I'm trying to save some money with those. You're not allowing me to. And meanwhile, you're allowing them to blow some money all over the place. And then at the end of the day, the people that I'm trying to help, I want to send them to Mars. I want them to, you're going to tack another $4 trillion on top of the head of these people. Think of it as the way Tesla is thinking about it. Of course, for you to grasp any of this, right, you need to listen to the right people, right? Because if you listen to the social media, they'll tell you, well, the smart guy, the rich guy, the powerful guy talking to each other, and he's crazy, and Trump is going to do this, and Elon Musk is going to do that, and the stock is going down. Yeah. That's just reporting. I don't believe in reporting, right? Everybody could read the newspaper. You don't need to tell someone to tell you what's going on. What you need someone to tell you what is really going on. And if you really understand what's happening, you're not gonna know what's gonna happen next. Do you really think that a guy like Elon Musk is gonna go away? He's not. So now his focus, yeah, okay, you want me to work on Tesla, right? And stop asking so many questions, right? You want me to work on Tesla, but you told me I was your friend when I was giving you $250 million. Now I need to go away because I'm asking too many questions. Do you think I'm going to go away? He cannot. The guy doesn't care. The guy sleeps in his garage, for Christ's sake. Do you think you're going to put him away? He's going to come back. And I'm sure he's seen lots of things. I don't know what's going on with the Epstein situation. Trump knew the guy. And a guy like Epstein, obviously, who was a hedge fund manager, which never really went out to make any money, but somehow got all that money. Lots of stories going on with this guy, with the Limited. He was involved with this guy that created the Limited. I remember when I would go to San Juan, they had this huge ship, not a ship, a yacht. And obviously this guy has to have fun. We don't know what he did, but he was involved with Epstein, and somehow Epstein was making money. Was Trump involved? Was he not involved? Is Elon Musk joking around? The point is, it gets dirty. It gets very dirty. Yes, sense, in my opinion, Trump should really slow down and give up his bill, and Elon should step aside. Do you really need that bill? I guess what we should say, do we really need an additional $4 trillion? Okay, because the US is carrying the world right now, but you keep putting stuff on his back. When it breaks, everything is going to break with it. Or what? You're gonna start using euros? You see what's going on over there? You're gonna what? Using Chinese currencies? Japanese yen as a reserve currency? That's nuts. That's never going to happen. You're never going to be able to do that because they do not have the laws that govern the U.S. and make it the country that it is. You may like it, you may not like it, but in the U.S. there are a lot more laws. Don't forget, the U.S. was when the U.S. was built, right? He had the tremendous luck, I guess, to be in a huge country with almost 350 million people. But then the foundation by which it was built was with brilliant minds that created the country, right? And say, okay, from now on, we're it. This was never done before. All other countries are from centuries of fighting, of killing, or whatever, and they all come together. But now the country is solid, or at least it was. But then again, not everything lasts forever. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel in case you're leaving. And if you're coming back, you get notified to everything I'm talking about. Now, in exactly 12 minutes, something very important is going to happen. In 12 minutes, we're going to hear about what is the real state of the U.S. economy through the payroll numbers. Because so far, the stock market in the U.S. is not doing too good. If I'm looking at my chart over here, from the year to date, the US 500 stock market is up 1.3%. I know it's up, quote unquote, but from the beginning of the year, 1.3%. Do you know who's doing much better? The Germans, 22%. Do you know who's doing better? The Italian, 18%. The Spanish, 23%. So the US is not doing that great as far as the stock market. Now, why? Maybe the money is going from here to there. Why? They don't like Trump. But these people are not, come on. This is not about liking, not liking. They're saying this is shaky ground, people. And when that money starts moving over, it's a troubled situation. Now, Japan is actually losing 5%, right? So I guess we should take a look at Europe as a mean to make money in the stock market. Now, if people start thinking that way too much, everybody's going to shift over. Now, of course, you could say, but this is a great opportunity to buy in the US. We shall see. Back to Elon Musk and Trump. So you've got two characters, right? One is an efficiency expert. He is an efficiency. I know he didn't do anything with Doge, but he did a lot with Tesla by vertically integrating the company and making things and selling things and maintaining things all in the same house. He started using robots. I mean, the guy is efficient. His mind is, he's a little bit like Michael Burry. I don't know if you've seen Michael Burry in The Big Short. He's the guy that predicted the 2008 financial crisis. And he made millions of dollars doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great. But now we are in a situation where we are basically waiting to hear what is going on with that payroll number. Because if that payroll number drops, right, and the unemployment goes up, it doesn't have to go by too much, by the way. If it goes beyond expectation, we're done for. If that number, which I believe it will, if that number goes up, because, you know, things are slowing down, you have no idea. If that number finally goes up, then they're going to say to the Fed, do something. But the Fed keeps saying, you know what, I want to know what the impact of the tariffs, because it's true. The Fed is correct when they say that tariffs will increase, will cause inflation. But if the Fed does this and raises rates, you've got yourself 37 trillion and maybe an additional 4 trillion on top. It's going to be extremely expensive to carry. Right now, I think the US is spending about 4%, if I'm correct, of its revenues, 4% of GDP towards the interest payments alone. It's the highest among all the countries. And now it is becoming a story. It's becoming a story because Trump is making it a story. Then again, if it wasn't Trump, it would have been Kamala. It would have been whoever next was in line. It was going to happen regardless. So I'll be very careful. Now, if I take a look at where the inflation numbers are right now, through inflation, I mean, it's 1.84 in the past month. You know, inflation has been coming down a little bit. So we don't have an inflation problem. So if those numbers today are not good, and the Fed doesn't do anything, then you know that the guy, this is personal. But then again, isn't everything personal when it comes to Trump? I mean, look what Elon Musk is doing. Right? He's basically saying the guy was with Elon Musk partying with those girls. I mean, are you crazy? He's the president of the United States. Are you sure Trump doesn't need to do that? Right? He's not you know, the Prince of England of the UK. Remember when he got caught or whatever? He doesn't need. He's got whatever he wants. He can have. That's not a problem for him. But if that's going to happen, that's going to be an issue. So therefore, what needs to happen right now is that you need to follow closely that number that's coming out in exactly 7 minutes. This could be very good. This could be good or very bad, because right now there's so much uncertainty in the U.S. that I don't think you're going to come out all right in this situation. Now, what's going to happen next? Let me tell you what's going to happen next. Elon Musk is not going to give up. Elon Musk is going to keep doing it. Um, he's going to go back to work. Hopefully, Tesla stock goes back up because right now it's taking a huge dump. And what's going to happen is that Bill is in danger. That Bill's in danger because the longer it lasts, the longer it takes time, and the more Trump feels weakened. You know, the emperor has no clothes. People are going to realize, listen, the emperor has no clothes. In fact, that that topic is coming out more and more because they're saying, oh, Trump came out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to kick your butt, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And say, okay, well, I'm not going to do this, actually, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this, I'm going to go back. So I'm threatening you because I'm the all-powerful odds and I could do all these things back and forth. But more and more they realize you are not the all-powerful ours, unfortunately, and that's a problem. If that mentality, if that thing start to seep through the mentality of everyone, then they're going to see an opening. Don't forget, the Democrats are right there waiting. They're lurking. They're waiting to see the good opening for them to come in, right? All the things that I'm telling you that's negative about Trump, they already know that. This is not new, right? There's nothing new here. The only thing that is new is the fact that now you know from an analytical point of view that this could end up very bad. Now, what does it mean for you? What it means for you is that you have to be extremely careful about the world situation. Now, how long is it going to last? It's probably going to last until the Republican or the Republican lose the House, which I think it's like a year and a half. That's a long time, right? Because right now Trump is sucking the air out of the room, and Trump and Elon Musk at the same time is sucking all the air out of the room, and that is not good. Let's see what's going on with the market right now. The market is pretty green right now. I mean, it hasn't opened. The U.S., for example, Tesla itself is up 4.4%, although it lost 17% yesterday. The market seems to be pretty positive right now. And I'm seeing reports saying, here comes a job report. I'm not the only one talking about that, right? We're going to see what's happened, but the job reports is expected to show hiring slowed while the unemployment held flat. This data release will come as investors closely watch for any further sign of slowing in the U.S. job market. It's not me saying it, right? I don't even have a website. I don't need a website, right? I think YouTube is close enough. I mean, I need to provide analytical information to my subscribers. And don't forget to subscribe and like this because it moves so fast. You have to understand that whatever these people are telling you, they're mostly reporting information, and they're reporting information, depending if you're on the right and the left, that you're going to like, right? Because if you hear things that you don't want to hear, you're going to switch off. So they're going to tell you, they'll bring in all these portfolio managers. I used to know these guys. You bring the portfolio managers, and the portfolio manager is going to tell you, well, at the end of the day, like Tommy Lee and these guys, the market's going to go up. What else you want them to say? The market's going to go down? Well, if the market's going to go down, then I have to sell everything, right? What they should do, and I always said that, before you say anything, show me your record, right? Show me, let's build up great things around AI and sell them to VCs. Exactly. That's what we need to do. Show me your record as a portfolio manager, because 80%, remember, 80% of the portfolio managers do not beat the market. 80% of those people that you hear all day long on Bloomberg, they do not beat the market. You're better off just buying the S&P 500 and you will do just fine. Who needs them? But yet, they're giving a platform and you're listening to them and you see what they do and they tell you buy Tesla, sell Tesla, buy NVIDIA, sell NVIDIA. You have to understand that no one knows exactly what is the value of anything until they're willing to buy it. No one knows what things are worth. Right now, you're going to say, I bought S&P 500 a year ago. That's what you need to do. You would have done better off just buying. In fact, you don't need, this is just noise. This is mostly noise that you're hearing, and that's not good. What you want to do is you want to be there before they're there. What you want to do is you want to buy when everybody is selling. Right now, you should be buying the U.S. market. You want to do that, right? I mean, it's only up 1% this year. Buy it. No, what you're doing is you're looking at what's going on in Italy, in Spain, in Germany, and their stock market is doing great, 15% to 20%. No, I'd rather buy that. It's too late. The money is already shifted, right? Do you have the guts to buy the S&P 500 today? That is how you make money in the stock market. All right, 1 minute left. Let's see what is the number for the, right now it's green. So 8:30, it's 229 over on the East Coast. And we're going to see what the non-farm payroll looks like. We're expecting 130,000, down from 170. So the expectation that it's going to go down already. So we know this thing is slowing down. But if you're seeing like that, all bets are off. Be careful. Be careful, because this situation is moving so fast that even the economists don't know what's going on. Even the special people, the specialists, may not realize how fast this thing is going south. And if it goes too fast and too long, then you're going to have a market sell-off on top of everything that's happening with the situation. So I'll be 230. That's it. That's it. The number is out. Let's see. What am I seeing here? Everything is still green. That's it. Let's see what those numbers look like. But hopefully we've got some good numbers. Just stick with me for a second, and then I will let you go. But we're waiting right now to see what the non-farm payrolls look like, so we could see what's going on in the economy of the U.S. and whether or not there's going to be a further downgrade and worsening situation in the stock market in the U.S. with the dollar, with the national debt, with the 10-year yield, and everything else. 130, 123, unemployment rate at 4.2%. What does it look like? The market is green, so I think that the numbers should be pretty good then. I think if anyone has some numbers, let me know. Everything is very green. Amazon is up 1.7%, Google is up 1.4%, Meta is at 1.3%, Tesla is at 4%, but for obvious reasons. Nvidia is 1.16%. It looks to me like the May job report. Let's see. Let me look at the latest for you here so you don't have to do anything. Let's see. News. Latest stock market news. Still nothing here, nothing there. I mean, it's going to come out either. Even August, 2 hours ago, stock market today. Here comes the job. All eyes on the job report. Stock future rise as Tesla rebounds ahead of job reports. Why investors are already skipping ahead of the July job report? Why? Well, let's get through this one first before we skip to the next one, people. Why come I'm not seeing the numbers yet? It's going to take a while to come out. Here we go. Let's see what the numbers are for the job reports. And the number are as follows. U.S. labor adds 139 in May, and unemployment is steady at 4.2%. Okay. Oof, this was good. So here's the numbers. We actually went up a little bit from 130 to 139. So nothing bad. And that's where you're seeing the market just putting a sign of relief, and everything is up. I mean, we're still lower than 147. Now, keep in mind, right? Prior, it was 147. Now it's 139. So it's going down. It's just that it didn't go as down as thought that they would. So we should be fine. Stick around. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like it, join my Patreon channel.